have too many people, and we do have space in the schedule here. So thanks for coming. We're going to do 30 minutes,
Yeah.
And then maybe time for one question at the end to give you time to get
Yeah.
to the next talk. Here.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to go for 30 minutes, like probably 20 minutes or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes, and then just
Yeah.
time for one or
Yeah.
two questions, and then get you on to the next.
All right.
With that,
Are we good to go?
take it away.
All right. Hey everyone. My name's Om. I'm a full-time engineer at Amazon here in Toronto, and I'm also the co-founder of an app studio. So I just started making apps about 2 years ago, and in the past 5 months, we've managed to do about 140K in revenue. So yeah, I just want to share some of my lessons, in the process of doing that. So how many people here have an app or would like to, at one point, create one? So, okay, wow, more than half. So yeah, I mean, you guys know the struggle, right? So if you guys do consumer apps or like mobile apps, web apps, fundamentally it's all basically the same constituent components. So basically I kind of just want to break down my approach to it. It's a very empirical approach. It's kind of very easy to follow, especially if you've never done anything like that in the beginning. Now, just to kind of preface this is by no means the only way to do it. You can literally do the opposite of everything I'm about to suggest and still have a very successful app. So yeah, this is by no means the only way to do it. And who knows, I might change my tune on all these things in a year. But this is what seems to be working right now in the current market landscape. So yeah, like I said, no, this is proprietary. So yeah, why should you even focus on your app design, whether that's the landing page or the onboarding or the funnel construction? Why should you even focus on that at all? Well, 95% of apps, this is mobile apps, don't even hit 10,000 MRR within the first 2 years. So most apps just flop, right? This is according to Revenue Cat. Now, there's obviously many reasons for this, as you guys know. There's just a bunch of AI, like vibe-coded slop apps just hitting the App Store. So that's probably a reason for this. Another reason is people don't have that much experience with distribution. So yeah, various reasons, but definitely onboarding design and app system design as a whole is a very important component. So yeah, mention this. So this is kind of how I want to break down the talk. This is a high-level overview of basically everything that I'm going to go into. If you guys are familiar with any other kind of online business, this is nothing special. This is just what a basic funnel looks like. Now, if you don't know what a funnel is basically, you can think of it as a pipe, right? Like a leaky pipe with many different components. And at every junction, there's some spillage that happens. And if you guys don't have a picture of this, all good. I have a QR code and it has all the pictures. But yeah, so basically, I'm sure you guys have used social media. If you've come across an ad for an app at some point, you'll notice that there's a link in their bio, and that's basically how the top of funnel starts, right? So you go all the way from content to the custom product page, and then the user installs, they go through onboarding, they get hit with the paywall, and then hopefully you have an active converted user at some point. So I'm just going to break down each of these components. So here's kind of what I would start with if I was making an app. So we're going to start from the top and work our way down. So if you guys haven't noticed, people's attention spans are really captured these days, right? So the consumer apps that work in today's market address a very emotional concern. So like everybody wants to be in better shape. Everybody wants to have better habits. Everybody wants to doom scroll less. They want to wake up on time. There's core desires that everybody has. And I would suggest tapping into one of these desires or replicating an app that does that, just because it's much easier to sell them, right? I see a lot of people making apps that are kind of nice to haves, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can definitely make a ton of money, but this, like, if you're beginning, I would highly suggest picking a very strong pain point, right? Whether that's education, right? Pick something that people don't have a lot of insight into, like peptides, for example, right? Everybody has this kind of vague notion about what peptides are, but nobody, basically, people just have to resort to watching TikToks, right, to learn about it, because nobody's going to go and read the study, so it's a great market. So things like that. So what I would do is, just start off by scrolling TikTok intentionally, right? If you're a doom scroller, great. Just keep scrolling. As soon as you come across an ad, take mental note, write it down in a Google Doc, and eventually you'll start to see some patterns emerge, right? You'll start to see how they specifically construct a video to capture the user's attention, right? And eventually drive an install. So how many of you guys know what this tool is? It's called Sensor Tower. So yeah, a decent number of you guys. Yeah, so if you run any kind of online business or mobile apps, this is like a very popular tool. There's a bunch of other tools that do the same thing, but essentially what it does is it provides an estimate for downloads and revenue for the past month, right? Along with some other metrics, but these are basically the most important ones. Now, this can be highly inaccurate. Like I've seen it be inaccurate by an order of magnitude. So I wouldn't completely trust it, but it's definitely good to get a lay of the land. So once you've found kind of a topic or an app that resonates with you or that you're interested in replicating, I would suggest checking out how much they make just to know if you should take inspiration from their design. So now let's go into onboarding. We're kind of jumping all over the place, but this is kind of middle of the funnel. So here's how I would recommend you design onboarding. You don't have to follow these instructions. There's apps that just go in a completely different direction, which I'm kind of going to cover. But this is basically, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of an app. So if you're making it, I would spend 80% of my time here, like genuinely 80%. Yeah, like I said, 80% of your time should be on onboarding. And when you're starting out, it's kind of confusing because it almost feels like you don't know which direction you should go in. You don't know what you should optimize for. So I would recommend you obsess over this metric, which is LTV to CAC. How many people have heard of this? Probably a lot, right? It's a very popular business metric. LTV is just lifetime value. So basically, how much revenue does an average user generate over the lifespan? And CAC is just consumer acquisition costs. So it's basically how much money do you have to pay to acquire a user. So let's say you spend $1 to get a user, that user spends $2. LTV to CAC is 2, so it's fairly straightforward. So now, yeah, I just want to kind of give you some examples of onboardings. How many of you guys know what Cal AI is? Yeah, a lot, right? Yeah, they recently sold for I think 100 million. Like it's an insane app. Fundamentally, it is very simple, but it does address a core human desire, which is everybody wants to be in better shape. They want a convenient way to track calories. Not everybody wants to, be weighing out how much rice they have, so this is just an easy way to do it. But anyways, this is a competitor, which I think is very informative, because what they basically do is they follow some core principles, which is you want to address the issue that you're solving, right? So you want to kind of bring the problem to the forefront of the user's imagination. So like if someone downloads an app to get into better shape, you should kind of, channel them into thinking about why they want to do it in the first place, right? So they ask a lot of probing questions like, what's your weight? What's your goal weight? What's the main thing stopping you? Do you have any bad habits? Like really make them think about it, right? So what this does is it basically gets them to buy in emotionally, right? You get an emotional commitment out of them. And they feel like they're investing something into the onboarding, right? Which is why the hard paywall converts so much better. Yeah, this is another app. This is hilarious. I just thought it'd be funny, but this is an app that supposedly helps you get taller. But yeah, it makes like 300,000 a month, so go figure. But a couple of cool things they do on the onboarding is they have a lot of UI gimmicks, which I'll show you later. But I would highly recommend you guys add like as many gimmicky features as possible. So for example, this one, right? It's like how many hours do you sleep a night? There's like haptic feedback on everything. Everything is like very nicely animated. It's like glowy. The animations are very aesthetic. So I'd recommend taking a page out of their book. You can even copy like the overall structure and just obviously change the content around.
What's this one called? Sorry.
Yeah.
What's this one called?
Taller. Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, taller. This one's called Rise. This one does like I think 500,000 a month. This is basically like an anime inspired soul leveling up, they call it. But it's like if you guys have watched anime, there's like there's a part where the protagonist kind of goes through this huge transformation. So they've kind of branded that into an app, right? So yeah, as you can see, a lot of anime themed design, things like this, and they do have a lot of unique components. Like for example, in this part, they get the user to sign a vow. I mean, it's not a real vow, but if you actually download the app, there's like a really cool animation where the fingerprint thing expands out, all this text types in. So the longer you can kind of delay that gratification of like giving the user what they want, the more they'll buy into essentially what you're promoting. So yeah, like I said, you have to really make them believe that you understand their problem better than they do themselves. And yeah, ask deep questions, get some emotional commitment. Now, LLMs have really kind of opened how you can do this. Before, it used to just be kind of a deterministic kind of decision tree where it's like you just pick certain options and it just guides you through the onboarding. But now you can really ask open-ended questions. Like let's say you're doing a peptide app or a health app. You can say, what medical predispositions do you have, right? Things like that. Now, there's other apps like Astra, for example, which I think is a manifestation app. They don't even do anything I mentioned. Like it's literally you open the app and it's like a chat interface. Like the AI bubble types in, it asks you whatever questions they want to ask, and then it takes you to a paywall. So yeah, you can definitely get creative, but if you're beginning, this is definitely a framework that's scalable. And this is kind of like what a UI gimmick I'm talking about. So this is one of my apps. There's like this scanning animation type thing. Literally the only point is for it to look cool and give your app validation, basically. Yeah. So now let's say you do have an app, you followed all these principles, and now you want to actually get into making it. Here's kind of a tool that you guys can use. It's a little script. You guys can vibe code this. It's nothing proprietary, but if you're not in the mood to vibe code, you can take it. It's on the GitHub at this QR code. But basically what the script does is if you upload a video of the onboarding, it's going to extract all the unique frames from the onboarding so you can analyze them in Figma. So yeah, like you see here, it takes all the different frames. You can put them into Figma, and then you can study them and model your app after that. So yeah. Yeah, just put it into Figma, and yeah, it does have a lot of duplicates. You guys can play around with the parameters, but again, you don't even have to use it. You can just get your agent to do it. I mean, nowadays it's so easy to make software, but yeah, in case you don't want to go through the trouble. Okay, so this is, I think, probably one of the most important parts. If you're gonna design an app, I think you'll notice that all the apps that go viral on organic, they have at least one screen that's like very viral, right? Now for CalAI, it was that screen where they recorded the food, right? You need at least one screen that's very visually compelling. You can't use too much text to kind of convey your value because, I mean, like people scrolling on TikTok, just assume if you don't pique their interest within like the first second, they're just gonna scroll, right? So there's no way you can do that with words, so you have to use visuals. So here's some examples of what I'm talking about. Over here, you have an app, it's an app that helps you reduce your screen time. So I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like if you use like the default Apple screen time thing, I always just click let me in, right? Like I always just bypass it. So what this app does is it physically makes you do push-ups to get past it. But you can see it's like very kind of like, it's interesting at least, right? Like if you're scrolling past this, you go, oh, well, what are these lines? It's probably some kind of like AI machine learning magic, right? So it kind of piques your interest. Over here, it's very simple. You just take a picture of the food and then it uses AI magic to tell you how many calories there are. Yeah, so you definitely need one screen like that. And I didn't do this in the past, and my apps all got cooked. So highly, highly recommend you guys do that. Now, just a little tidbit on analytics. You really do want to obsess over your onboarding completion rate. So an onboarding is probably one of the leakiest parts of the funnel because if you lose your interest at any point or they feel like your app isn't up to par, they're just going to drop off, right? So this is one of my onboardings at one point. You can see that there's like a noticeable drop off here. Now this can be because of all sorts of reasons, as you guys know, if you guys are developers, but like if they have like an iPhone 8 or something, right? Like the continue button could be cut off, or like they have an iPhone SE and there's like weird aspect ratio things, or they're on an iPad. Like you'd be shocked how many people download apps on iPads. Like I didn't even think those were out there, but they are. Yeah, so really looking at that. And then paywall, this is relatively, I mean, self-explanatory. I would say take an empirical approach to paywall. So obviously just test a bunch of different price points, test like 2 designs, like 3-4 price points, weekly versus yearly. I mean, whatever. This doesn't require too much creativity on your part. You can basically just let data lead the way. Just throw up a couple paywalls, see which ones convert, drive more traffic towards those. If you use a tool like Superwall, you can do this very intricately. You can set up a bunch of different campaigns, win back offers, things of that nature. But yeah, just to kind of drive the point home, this is one of the new apps I made. This was literally like one-shotted on Claude design. And I was just like, oh, make me a paywall. Now most of these are garbage, but I kind of like the first one, so I was like, you know what, refine it. And then yeah, eventually end up with something that looks a bit more professional. So yeah, you guys know the drill, with AI. But yeah, so now on the topic of paywalls, hard paywalls convert much better in my opinion. I've found that LTV is significantly higher with hard paywalls. Now, you don't have to just have a hard paywall. You can do some other clever method, like something else that works is having a viral loop in the app, for example, to increase the K factor. So it's like you can either pay for the app or you can share it with 3 people, and if they all download and use your code, you get it for free, right? So if you can get one user to bring in 3 more users, that's obviously very helpful. So yeah, add in a viral loop like that. A lot of apps have seen tremendous success with that, like NGL. I think it's like an Instagram utility, like you put it in your bio or something. But that app really, because like in order to even use it, you have to share it with other people, right? I'm sure you guys know what BeReal is. It was a phenom, right? That app constantly had tons of viral loops. Like you could always share it with your friends. You need friends to even use the app in the first place, right? So these kind of apps are really conducive to having a high K factor. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but you should definitely have a win back. This might be a mobile specific thing. If you're on web app, I think Stripe has something similar, but essentially a win back is just if the transaction fails or they decline out of the paywall, you can hit them with another offer that's less than the initial offer. These convert really well. For my personal apps, winbacks bring in about 50% of the revenue as the original offer. So it's literally like a third of the revenue is a winback, right? Which is kind of crazy. So yeah, this is kind of what winbacks look like. You just say, hey, you're never going to see this again. This is the one-time price if you want it. These are other winbacks. This is Quitter, and this is Life Reset. But yeah, you guys can find tons of apps. I don't want to bore you guys too much. So now we're kind of on the analytics part. I would recommend you just think of the app as a math equation, right? It's literally just a function. Inputs go in, outputs come out, and you can track every stage. Before, what I used to do is I used to kind of mythologize it, like, oh, my app isn't aesthetic enough, or like, the content isn't good enough, or like, just come up with like all these random excuses, right? But once you actually drill down into the nitty gritty and the details at every stage of the funnel, all that ambiguity just seems to vanish. So yeah, so you have to track your views, right? So there's tools you can use to do this, like viral.app. If you guys don't want to pay another company, there's APIs like Tick API. I think there's Creator Hub or something. But yeah, you can just get your Claude Code agent to take these APIs, make your own internal dashboards where you can track every view. From view to click, you can use a MMP, which is a mobile measurement partner like AppsFlyer. You can use custom product pages to really track different channels. But yeah, you definitely need to track every stage of the every stage of the funnel so you can identify the bottleneck.
Sorry, a question for this one.
Yeah.
Is it the same as full story, or is it different?
Full story? What's full story?
Full story is like session monitoring. Is this different from that?
Probably. Yeah, I've never heard about full story. Is that a web thing?
It's for web.
Okay, yeah. This for mobile. Yeah. But yeah, there's obviously analogs for whatever platform you're on. Okay, so attribution, like I said, MMPs. So just kind of like a little disclaimer, it really does depend what distribution strategy you're using. This isn't just a plug-and-play system that works for everything. Apps do things very differently. Like if you use just like a straight affiliate model where it's like you hire a bunch of creators, they promote your app, they have a link in bio. Something like this is very optimal because you can track each creator's unique link clicks and you can attribute sales directly to them. I can get into the details of how to do that, but since this is a design room, I don't want to get too technical. But basically, just fire off a webhook with your payment provider and search up deferred deep linking, which is basically what MMPs do. So yeah, now this is kind of what an MMP looks like. This is just one of our AppsFlyer dashboards. Tells you, the channels they come from. These are the events it sends to paid acquisition channels if you're using Meta ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, things of that nature. And yeah, so this is just like a backend dashboard. If none of this works or you don't want to do it, there's just a very simple solution. You can just use custom product pages. So the thing with Apple is if you drive, like, let's say 10,000 users to the app and they buy, right? You don't know which channel drove which users, right? So what a custom product page does is it basically splits up the flow of the users so you can individually track analytics for each channel, right? So like, let's say you have a TikTok link, you have an IG link, you have Facebook ads, right? So you know which channel is doing how much. Also, another issue this solves is MMPs aren't 100% accurate. They are a statistical model, so it's not 100% deterministic, but this is deterministic because if they click the link and they buy, Apple's gonna know. But a third-party app like AppsFlyer might not know. I'm not sure if you guys know the scandal in iOS 14 where Facebook and Apple had like a huge blow up. But Apple basically just stopped like enhanced tracking capabilities that Facebook marketers were using for a long time. So yeah, so this is an internal dashboard we have. I included an agent that kind of encapsulates everything I talked about. But if you don't want to use any third party, you can literally just whip this up yourself. Like this took maybe like 2 hours of development effort, right? It's very easy to do. You can connect it up to your own database. You can track whatever you want, right? So this really helps get enhanced insight into every part of the funnel. Yeah, like I said, you can get a bunch of views but no installs, so you need to address the constraint. And yeah, basically went over this. I don't want to bore you guys. And yeah, just kind of a last piece of advice. It's kind of hard to one-shot like basically everything on the first try. You know, like random things that you didn't expect are gonna break, like the link tracking doesn't work, or like it's like misattributing things, like just like weird little bugs, right? So it's kind of like gradient descent, right? Like you take a bunch of stochastic passes, you take a shot, you update your priors, and then you shoot again, right? So that's kind of how you guys should think. Don't just expect it to work the first try. But yeah, that's basically it. These are all the tools that I mentioned. You guys can download them here. There's like some AI agents, useful things like that. Again, yeah, it just saves you the trouble of having to whip it up yourself. But yeah, if there's any questions, I can take them now, but I think we have to get out in like 5 minutes. So yeah, are there any questions?
In terms of marketing, and you said you do Reels mostly.
Reels and TikToks, yeah, organic.
How are you finding that you have to make a new reel constantly, or like every like I don't know 3 weeks, a month, or whatever? Or have you found one kind of format that works? And you're just like,
Oh, like a content format.
yeah, like basically, are you pumping one thing, like one video that works
Yeah.
with ads?
Okay, yeah, so that's a good question. In the beginning, I would just say like spam different content formats. So like basically on TikTok, you can post up to 3 times a day without getting shadow banned. So literally spam as much as you can. And I would say do 1 new format a day. So 1 new format and then 2 of the highest performing format to date, right? Just so you can test like new content formats and you also get the best of whatever worked well in the past. That's if you're just posting yourself. If you're getting creators to do it, it becomes a bit more complicated because then you have to track like which creator performed well and then look at their content. But that's how I would do it. Yeah, yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what you're doing right now?
That's what we're doing right now. Yeah. We kind of slowed down because like we get other people to make content and they update their own videos. But in the beginning, we did that. Yeah.
So what happens if you get banned?
If you get banned, okay, great question actually. You probably shouldn't get banned unless you like severely violate their terms of service. Like I've violated their terms of service many times and I've gotten banned, but it's usually temporary. But yeah, you can make a new account if you have another device. Make a new device. There's tools where you can provision cloud phones called Glark. You can use that. You can get other people to post content. Like there's a million different things you could do. Yeah.
And we talk about in context TikTok a lot, right? And I think I also experimented with automation in TikTok.
Yeah.
It looks like their DOM has severe like limitation in terms of how autonomous you can go.
Yeah. So
How do you go around that part?
yeah, that's a good question. So we do a TikTok automation as well, but it becomes exponentially harder if you try and maintain all the accounts yourself. So something that's really working is you hire other people and you say, hey, I'm gonna send you content and all you have to do is post it. So the benefit with that is every device has like a unique MAC address and TikTok's algorithm kind of looks at everything. So it just, it makes sure that like the device fingerprint is unique and you don't get banned. So you just send everyone content. You could do that, yeah. Or you can provision your own phones, but the issue with that is I think they reuse phones. So it's just one data center with a bunch of phones and it's like, there's like a bunch of data sanitation issues, right? Like you're just gonna get banned. Like TikTok's pretty smart. So just, I'd say pay other people to post. Like post your content, yeah.
Is your slideshow going to be available to us?
I can make it available if you guys want, but yeah, at the GitHub, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, you've been doing it for 2 years now. Have you shown or seen any difference in conversions or like CAC with like more competition? Because at least now,
yeah.
I know that like this like building apps and stuff is more of a
Yeah.
popular thing now.
Yeah.
More people are doing it.
Yeah.
Are the economics changing?
Not noticeably, since like we've only seen major success in like the past 4 months, right, or like 4 or 5 months. But I think it's more like thinking about it on a content level is better. Like certain formats get saturated, right? Like the format of like, oh, like a day in my life or like come work out with me. Like everybody's over all that, right? Like everybody's seen that shit, right? So you need to experiment with different stuff. So content formats get saturated, but like economics as a whole, I'm sure there's something happening, but it's basically like, I think there's an infinite appetite for content consumption, right? Like people are more addicted than ever. So I think if you can find something that sticks, you'll have no trouble, you know? I don't think the entire industry as a whole is like going down. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think the state is for apps over the next like 2 years, based on like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think like the golden era is probably gonna last for like a year and a half or 2 years probably, just because it's so easy to make it. Yeah. We're gonna wrap it up. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, we'll talk outside. Yeah, we'll talk outside. But yeah, everybody's just like farming them.